What's up, y'all? Jason Nelson. It is about 10 o'clock at night, right? Now, this is normally when I kind of get in trouble. It's because it's late. I've been working, want some food, want some drink. And sometimes I really don't be wanting food and drinks. I really just be trying to prolong me going home. Cause like now, and I enjoy my home for real for the most part. But I've been living by myself for like 5 years, and I know I didn't take heed of the opportunity that I could have to grind. I mean, it looked like I did, but I didn't do it as good as I could have, right? But it's like, you could call this like Divorce Dude Diaries. You know what I'm saying? Divorce Dude Diaries, episode 1. And what it is, when I was once married, no matter what I had going on, I would, go home and I would, see my kids, and it was like one of my favorite things to do. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed being with my children, and their moms too. I got married twice for the most part. First wife, we really didn't know each other. We was moving fast. Second wife, we had initially more of a bond, so it appeared to be. Just used to work a lot, because I was thinking about generations after me. So, being back in St. Louis, so I'd be working hard. And what I had developed a habit of doing is to prolong me going home sometimes. I'll just ride around. I'll stop and get me some food, get some shots, talk to people, and then I'll keep my food and shots. I'm just being honest. Like, I think it's best for me to be honest and transparent. Like, I've been living kid-free for almost 5 years, and my children were being withheld from me as a consequence for whatever reason. And like, these are children I've raised and named them and stuff, man. But you would have thought I was just some dude who had just got some people pregnant. And I'm good now. Like, I promise you, I'm good now. Like, I am about to see if I can get me some food though. But you would thought I was just like some dude that just was going around knocking up some chicks and going about my business with the way that I felt I was treated. Now, part of the principles of success, you have to accept full responsibility for your success and failures. So, I'll leave it at that. So what I've been doing more recently, because I felt as if once I didn't have access and relations with my children, which I foolishly did not have legal representation or do much advocacy on my behalf, because I assumed, and they're probably closed, but it don't hurt to try. Let me see. I'm at Popeyes. Been cutting down on the beef and stuff as much. I'm not at zero, but I just don't know. But I assume that oh yeah, they closed. Yeah, y'all closed for the night. Yeah. So I assumed that everything was going to be worked out. I'm not gonna say that was a good assumption, because obviously those things hadn't happened. I thought, like what it is, like some of y'all don't know, but like when I was younger, I grew up in group homes. Not all my life, like a big portion of my life, I never really had much stability. For as my relations with my parents, siblings, friends. I went to like a total of like 12, 13 different schools, various programs. So 1992, my mother lost custody of me. My dad had a lawyer. He had a lot of more family support. My father expressed to me that he had got custody of me because he didn't want to pay child support. So when it came to my children, sometimes I didn't force stuff because I didn't want them to feel the way that I felt. What I didn't give myself the benefit of doubt of doing was acknowledging that my mind and my heart wasn't the same. I knew I just didn't want them to feel the way that I felt. So, I knew I didn't want them to feel the way that I felt. So I try to do things differently. At least what I identified as different. So as I matured and I see hindsight 2020, I realized that probably wasn't the best choice and the best decision. I should have been more assertive, and more adamant about, hey, you coming with me or not. Like I never got married with the thought process I'll be divorced, or the mindset I'll be divorced. Look, this motherfucker. Okay, slow down. So now the first marriage, I really didn't know that woman like that. We met on Black Planet. We moved fast. We was having sex. She said, I want to have your baby. And I'm like, okay. This goes back to like 2007. And then I used to be an atheist. I just started believing in God at that time. 2005 I started believing in God. 2006 I was apprehensive about believing in Christianity because of the historical. I was a very analytical, logical dude, whatever. So I was apprehensive about believing in Christianity. But first year I had a personal experience where I couldn't deny that God was real. The second year, I started reading the Bible for myself. And I learned that, the guys in the Bible, they were a lot more relatable to me than I thought. And so I had gravitated towards it, like psychologically, mentally, emotionally, stuff like that. And I thought it was dope. And then I began to channel energies, or spirits as they say. It's real. Like when they talk about manifestation and stuff, that stuff real. And I think your mind and your heart and your spirit has to be in the right place. But basically I know how to do certain things when it comes to spiritual realm. That's why, like, when sometimes people hear me talk shit, they don't even realize I'm talking on a frequency that only some are. Now, some of the frequencies I encounter, those are people with evil intent, evil hearts, or their thinking just so limited. Like me, I do consider eternal life. I do consider generations after me. So that's why I can never just purely go for the juggler when it comes to certain situations. So I've been up working all day today. I'm like tired, but I'm using these platforms to tell my perspective on my side of the story. Everyone's entitled to their side of the story, so I'm just adding context. So the first marriage we met, I thought she was attractive. She was a plus size woman. She was a bigger woman. But what I liked about her, she was outgoing. She had her own sense of style. Before natural was a thing, she was into being natural. She could sing. What I didn't like about her, she was junky. She was very junky. And but we kind of gravitate towards each other because it was based around abuse. Her father was very abusive towards her siblings, her cousins, her mother. I was abused by my dad, my stepmom. I witnessed my mother being abused. So we was like, oh, we can relate. We both were very highly sexual beings for one reason or another at that time of our life. But we both wanted to experience what we identify as true, genuine love. I remember I showed her all my notebooks, my journals, my goals, my visions, because I didn't grow up with my brother and sister like that. We all grew up in different households. We had a few moments where we were around each other, but most times we were in different households. I didn't have that much time with my mom. And then my dad, when he was around me. Now I understand how he was working a lot, but a lot of times, me and my dad never really hung out. I really never hung out with any man or woman growing up, like as a parental figure. So my mom, I mean the ones I did, my grandmother and grandfather on my father's side, they would when my mom used to take me to my dad, who was living with his parents, I spent most of my time with my grandmother and my grandfather. My grandfather passed away when I was about 12, but he's the most influential man in my life. I was talking about my older brother, but my grandfather is the one who influenced me to be most of what you see today. Entrepreneur, owner, married. Well, I'm not married, but I wanted to be married. Looking at my wife as a partner, or the woman I was married to as a partner. So all my life I just had this fantasy about being a family man, having a big family, a wife who loves me, adores me, many children, we making it through the storm. I used to read books like Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry, and sequels that correlated with that, Roots, and I just love history. I'm inspired by history, because I'm like, if they went through this then, imagine what I can do now. And this before this era with this technology and stuff. But either way, my first wife, looking back at it, we should have maybe dated a little bit more. But I think we were going, making choices based on some other parts of our life. My second wife is somebody that I knew when I finally settled into a neighborhood, because when I got a group home, I moved to Delwood, and my big brother had got custody of me when he got his home, and then he moved. He got a bigger house, and I remember my mother, who was now broken up with my sister's father, needed a place to stay, and legally I wasn't supposed to be around neither one of my parents, but my mother needed a place to stay, so she came to live with my brother and I. So we used to have to be quiet and sneak her in, where she had to hide in closets. When my social worker, her name was Jennifer Scotty, used to come over. I think Jennifer kind of knew, but she just didn't dig deep. So me coming out of group home after being abused and stuff like that, like, it was a crazy time in my life and transition. I'm just getting acclimated to being reintroduced to my mom, my brother, my sister, even my stepdad, or anybody that I knew when I was real little. I ain't saw these guys on a much of a consistent level. Shit, since 1992, and now it's like 2001. I tell people, it's like, I relate to people who've been incarcerated because I was institutionalized. Like, I think a big chunk of my life I was imagining and fantasizing about what life would be like once I got with them, around them, but that's not what happened, you know. So my second wife, I met her once my brother and I moved to Glasgow Village. Now, when I saw her, she was hanging out with this girl named Brittany. I thought Brittany was cute. She's like, I always liked black women, and then my mom's from Korea, so the black and Asian looking chicks, I don't know, I just feel gravitated to them too. But this young lady, she was hanging out with this one chick, and she was a little skinny, you know, but she was pretty. But this other girl, she was pretty too. She was bigger. She had some, I'm talking about for the thought process back then, she had some thigh on her. Ass wasn't bubbly, but it was meaty. So I really liked some meaty ass and thighs and shit. Now, this second wife, but I knew her first. So we used to walk around the neighborhood. This is my perception, walk around the neighborhood, talk and stuff. Because you gotta understand, I haven't been out of an institution since 1997. So it was limitations, you know. And we talked. I thought she was, what I liked about her, she was outgoing. She was doing field. I mean, I didn't realize her eyes weren't her eyes, and that the motherfucker wearing contacts. She's always kind of sneak around me. See, I didn't have to sneak because I lived with my big brother. My big brother, he had a few rules, like go to school, do your homework and shit like that. If you fuck, wear a rubber. But I wouldn't even fucking back. I had to be so shy and insecure about my life. I mean, I was already insecure about my anatomy because my stepmother, who was an adult, used to tell me like, "Oh, your penis is small and shit." You know? I mean, she used to tell me that. She said I have a dick like my dad's, my grandfather's, or my Uncle Bob. He's a pastor. I don't know how she know, but that's what she said to me. And you know what? I'm just living in my truth. That's what I went through and experienced. And you know, I used to hear that a lot as a little kid. I got so many dick jokes. But the second one, you know, I always kind of liked her, and even after I lost my virginity, I never forced. Not saying I ever forced, but I never really forced. You know what I'm saying? Push the issue. Like if I tried to have sex with her, because if she asked me to stop, I would stop. Because I used to always see her in a long-term way. You know, some people would say I probably put the pussy on a pedestal because of what it was. you couldn't tell me nothing wrong about her. So when she went to college for psychology, she said she went to because she was inspired by the conversations her and I had. She said I gave her the money for her application. I showed up at her graduation. I actually showed up at my best friend Tori graduation. I knew she'll be there because they graduated like 2 years after me. I got her a card, some Reese's Pieces, Buttercups, which I didn't know. It was a good guess, and it was her favorite candy. And I put $50 in it, but she told me that's what covered the cost of her college application. And then, you know, so a lot of times I used to think about her and talk about her, you know, even during my first marriage. I used to be like, you know, when my first ex-wife used to be like she couldn't go to college because she had a kid. We had a kid. We had our oldest son, Bryson. And I used to be like, well, Tasha, you know, her mama passed, and you know, she got a kid and she's still going, you know. And it wasn't like I was talking to Tasha like that because, you know, I understood. Once I was locked in married, I was married, like, you know. But I did use her as an example. I know they used to call her Fat Tasha with the cute eyes and shit. Those weren't her eyes. I did not know that for her. You know. So that's just what it is for right now. Fast forward to this point, I've only committed to 2 women in my life, but I had multiple encounters with a lot of females in my overall journey. And not that I intended to. I never really intended to, because I didn't see me as a dog or as a hoe, because I grew up around some guys, or I had, you know, exposures, like the people in my family and my neighborhood who would really be going out their way to like dog women out and do this or be me. Now I'm older now, I realize a lot of them were insecure, they were angry, they were hurt. But, you know, young, impressionable Jason didn't look at it like that. I never really wanted to hurt any women, you know. And I also grew around women who was like cheaters, very savage-like. Now, I don't know what led them to that, but by the time my awareness was made, that's what it was. So I'm gonna call this series Divorce Dude Diaries. This episode 1. So like I said, around this time is usually when it get hectic for me, because I don't be wanting to already go home. Because I be by myself. Now sometimes I be by myself because I feel like it's mentally and emotionally more safer for me to be. I don't want to hurt nobody. I don't want to disappoint nobody. I don't want to feel rejected. But this is when I go driving around looking for a place that has some food. Because of COVID, a lot of places that normally used to be open aren't open. Let me see, there's rallies right here. Cause I ain't gonna go to the rallies. It's like I'm gonna see this one in Florissant, and I'm assuming it might be better quality than the ones I used to go to. But I'm basically going here to spend some money, get some food, and I don't even like eating this food as much. It's like a coping mechanism. And then I normally may go somewhere like a gas station and grab me some shots, and then if you know how many shots I got, oh, this line's too long for me. That's when I make these calls or the inboxes, because I guess I really just want to experience feeling like loved, liked, and cared for. I will say the women I married, I'm not gonna say they didn't like, love, and care for me, but I think I started off so strong with showing them like, love, and care and affection, and not saying they didn't do it either, because everything is perception, okay? Like my second wife, I used to write her poetry almost every day, buy her flowers. I've known about this for years. Buy her flowers, run her bath water, she could, or if she got out work late, the kids were already in bed. Dinner's prepared, make her lunch, and I did that because I'm a creative, and I was inspired by how she made me feel in those moments. And then what happened was, somewhere along the line, I began to feel taken for granted and not appreciated. Now I understand, looking at certain things, kids and hormonal imbalances, postpartum, and like I'm way more conscious and aware of that part of it now than I was. Let me see, Taco Bell. Well, you can't go wrong. I don't really want Taco Bell. You feel like Mexican food like that. But that's what it was. Like it was like, for once in my life, I felt like I encountered someone who understood me, like truly understood me and got me. Like I said, it's not a bash. I'm just saying my side, and I can look back at things and see most definitely where I was wrong and I was off and stuff like that. So, but I think it's important for me to tell this side of my story. Like I said, good, hard, bad decision. That's it. And then what it is, because I'm still in my process of healing, and I'm going to continue to strive for greater. I know this is one of those times where, I'm heading home though. But you see, I'm searching for food and stuff. I got a few things at home, but